UConn has hired an outside firm to evaluate athletic director Jeff Hathaway in the athletic department. The firm is expected to release its findings in a few weeks. Hathaway has been athletic director at UConn since 2003. He has a 6-year contract that rolls over each year with a base salary of $351,000. Here to talk about the future of UConn's athletic department and the rampant rumors that Coach Jim Calhoun is the source of the scrutiny of Hathaway are Fox Connecticut's Bobby Rumbold and Jason Page of thebackpage.com. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So what exactly are they looking for?
Well, let's be honest. Anytime someone new comes in, you got a new president, right?
A lot of bringing their people.
Right. Bringing their new, you know this in this industry, right? And somebody new comes in, they want their own folks.
Right.
And what happens is somebody listens to somebody else, who listens to somebody else, who listens to somebody else, who says something about somebody.
And is this somebody Jim Calhoun?
Well, I think there are a lot of people who will suggest accurately that Jim Calhoun has an axe to grind right now with one Jeff Hathaway for some of the things Hathaway might have said during the Nate Miles probe, the Knockhamson investigation and everything that led to that, saying, that Nate Miles was pursued by Jim Calhoun with more vigor and more intensity than any candidate or any student athlete he had ever seen him go after, and that probably didn't help in the overall findings of the NCAA and the investigation that took place. And Jeff and Jim, even long before that, have butted heads. And Bobby, you've been here forever. You know that.
But how has that adversely affected the athletic department?
Well, I mean, if someone looks at the overall, let's say the president of the school, a lot of it is fundraising, as much as anything else. And that hasn't been maybe as great as it's been. But
some will argue Jim hasn't helped out necessarily in the fundraising. Some of the past players from UConn, all these guys in the NBA that UConn has, haven't necessarily helped out in the fundraising side of things. So there's plenty of blame to go around if you want to go after the fundraising. Right. Look, does Jim probably have an axe to grind here? Yes. Yeah. If I were Jeff Hathaway, and I wrote this on the site, if I were Jeff Hathaway, I'd walk away. I don't need this. Why does Jeff Hathaway need this? He can go find a job anywhere.
I asked you this earlier, but why is it necessarily wrong for the coach of the biggest program there to say, listen, I can't work with this guy? I mean, it's affecting if you want to say that, it's affecting our fundraising, it's affecting my ability to work with him on, promoting the school. I mean, why is that? Why would that necessarily be wrong?
Well, yes, they won 3 national championships, but there's also how many other sports that and some of the other coaches do get along with Jeff. So it's not unanimous that there's an issue there. You know what I mean? So one guy and the other guy don't get along all that well. Some of the others do. Randy Edsel obviously had his issues with Jeff in regard to maybe his backing on some of the when he's trying to get kids into the school and stuff like that. I think there was some of that there.
If this goes down the way it looks like it's going to go down, if it goes down this way, you're talking about Jim Calhoun rising to a level in terms of his, and I hate to use the word power at UConn, you're looking at him in a way almost like a Joe Paterno, where he's going to be able to stay here as long as he wants. He can write his own tickets. He can do basically whatever he wants. A Bobby Bowden, like he was able to do down at Florida State for so many years. He's rising to a level now, and with this latest national championship, he can pretty much call his own shots.
Yeah, but Coach hasn't said he's coming back.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears because there's other stuff happening in the state regarding sports. Jason, I know that you're heavily involved with the Colonials, and there's been some mixed news about whether they might be staying or might be going or having a season or not.
Well, everybody's quick to bury them. And look, this may come down next week where the Hartford Colonials wind up leaving. Maybe they contract the 4 teams. This ownership group will take over the Virginia franchise. That may or may not happen. My only point is, and I wrote about this today again, the fact that we've gotten to a point in this state where there's so much self-loathing among sports fans here when it comes to us being a major league sports market. There's so much self-loathing that I think there's some people that are actually rooting for this. I read some of the things that are written, and some people already predicting the demise of the Colonials, saying an email's been sent out. I've talked to people from the Colonials. No email's been sent out throughout the organization saying that the team is folded. I've talked to the commissioner. There's no decision coming until August 10th. As far as I've been told by the commissioner himself, there won't be a decision until August 10th as to whether or not this league is going to contract to 4 teams as opposed to 5. I think Hartford makes a lot of sense for the UFL. The problem is the Rentschler Field rent is simply too expensive. And unless Mike Fresher and the folks over at the Bushnell want to come down on the price and try and work out some sort of deal with the folks from the Colonial, help them out a little bit, there may not be
and
any
you don't want them to
there.
leave because the product is actually pretty good. You know, you've seen it. You've done their games.
Right.
You know, I mean, the product's good. The people like it. They've gotten people out.
Problem is you launched a league in the middle of a recession.
Right.
That's the bottom line. It's not that Hartford can't support this. It's not that Hartford's a bad sports market. And that's my overall theme here is they tried to launch a league in 2009 in the middle of a recession. It's very difficult to expect that to survive with what's going on in this economy and what was going on then. The fact that it's even gotten into a third year is pretty surprising.
Would it have really helped had the NFL lockout been extended? I mean,
yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It would have. And they were banking on that. A lot of people were banking on that. 6 months ago, 4 months ago, I thought we probably would be in that position. And as usual, once people start to see the prospect of losing money, and the owners were seeing that, the players are starting to see that, those two sides get together. And now you're starting to see players that were on UFL rosters already bolting.
Already leaving.
Back to the NFL. So who knows what kind of guys they're going to be able to get to fill out these rosters, even if they do field a team.
All right, so we have about 30 seconds left. Anything else we should be keeping our eye on sports-wise here?
You mean in terms of between these two teams?
No, anything.
Major League Baseball right now.
Football starts soon, too.
Football starts soon.
Next week,
football.
Big East Media Day, Big East Football Media Day.
Yep.
It should be interesting with Coach Pasqualoni, his
So
first
how's that going to be? Yeah, his first year. Big hopes for his first year.
Defense is going to be pretty good. The offense, got to find a quarterback.
We know the defense is going to be good, but can they score?
Can they score?
Right.
They're going to have to win 3-0. Nah, it shouldn't be quite like that. But they got a good D, the O. We'll see.
All right, thanks both of you. We got to go. Sorry, Jason, I'm sorry. Thanks to Bob Rumbold and Jason Page of thebackpage.com. Don't forget, if you missed something here on The Real Story, you can now watch it online by going to ctnow.com. You can also catch us on YouTube. Thanks for watching this week's edition of The Real Story. We will see you here again next week.